Rev Hazlett here. I put far too much time into building these two stupid towers behind me. Figured it's time to run in and show them off real quick. So, let's start off just with a quick tour of the outside. Had to put my name on it, because why wouldn't you? That's the sign, tells you what's where. Wrap some spotlights around the outside. Part of the idea on this was to have the entire thing completely concrete. When they added that to the game, when the DLC came out, I figured, hey, give you some sort of resistance to radiation. See a little bit more of that mess in a little bit. Yeah, these little way stations for the traders, they seem to attract a mess. I had to move it further away from the wall because otherwise it just built, they just piled up, actually started piling up inside. That's no fun. Anyways, go inside. The nurse is stuck upstairs right now for some reason. Just 3 basic shops. Seating, whatever, try and make it a little bit nice. A couple of guns. Water pump, just because this is the only exposed ground you can reach. Dog meat hanging out. Using the power doors, they're open when on. So part of the idea behind this is that if somebody triggers,
coming in pretty good.
Yeah, whatever, triggers the alarm. Oh, before we get there, moving quickly across this, it triggers just long enough to actually de-irradiate you. It's kind of nice. Anyways, you can switch it off, and I will probably come through here and put one of the alarm bells in with a logic switcher too, so that if they ring the alarm bell, it automatically locks the door, and then unlocks when the alarm is turned off, or maybe on the timer, I don't know. The whole idea is that is literally the only way in and out of this entire complex, and if power failures or whatever, you can just cut it off. Anyways, I wanted to play with the elevators when they were added to the game, so that's where this came out. So the second floor is the barracks, if you will, the living quarters. Right now NPCs or settlers are too stupid to use elevators, so they don't necessarily come up and down except for between saves, which is kind of annoying. But they will show up and down every now and then. I just quick furnished all these rooms just using the nicer stuff. Pile of stuff just to make it look, lived in. Oh, there we go.
Put on some
The
wonderful
nurse.
radio plays.
She loves the radio plays. Yeah, some of these are larger, for like family units, I guess, if they ever existed. There's only, I think, 4 people on the island right now. Which I did build this entire thing on Spectacle Island just to have it secluded. Oh, bathrooms, all set up. Gotta wash his hands. Yeah, so just a basic waste of resources on floor 2. Floor 3 is what I call residence. This is, if you will, my space. This is where the welcome mat is to drop you in if you fast travel. The power armor I actually care about. Fully upgraded as far as I can get it. A couple of empty frames, and then just some of what I've collected over time. There's a lot more elsewhere, but these are just the ones I might play with or do something with. All these little edges right here, I figure, just put a power armor frame on each one and go from there. Basic shops, all the stuff you need in here. So, armor, chems, food. I'm sorry, that one was weapons. This one's armor. Played with this thing to see what it would do. Don't really care so much about that. Ugly basic decoration down here, but going into living space proper, this is where all the fun stuff is. Play with the toys and stash all the garbage. Don't quite yet have them all, but then again, just for reference in the storyline, I haven't even been to the Covenant yet, so yeah, I'm not that far along story-wise. Just, you know, collections of stuff. I figured I'd have some fun with it. Try and make it look like a space I would actually live in. I couldn't do very much with the bathroom. I didn't like the way that turned out, but whatever. So, this is all fun and dandy. Just a living space, really. Fourth floor was originally, this was originally where I built my factory, but it didn't quite do what I wanted it to, so I decided to build it bigger and better, and that's what this whole big building on this side is. We'll get to that in just a moment. The whole thing is powered with the big generator in the back here. Part of what I do like about this, since I've used power doors on the outside, if someone were to break in and sabotage the generator, they can't get out. So, you know, it works fairly well. Again, since the idea was radiation isolation, concrete walls, even going outside, this takes you upstairs, a little bit of a farm and a greenhouse up here.
I really should step
Don't know why I can hear her. She's downstairs several floors. You can come out and look at, you know, there's a little wrap around here, and this is the factory that we're going to go into in a minute. Pretty much I just picked the island clean and built around. At one point in time I had a different building I put in here, but after I picked up the DLCs I figured I had to have some fun with them. I put a little fountain and a I put a fountain, a little fireplace, and a lean-to there, just, you know, visitors who haven't been cleared, if you will.
Now, where did I put my script?
Yeah, no one cares, Anne. I'll probably get rid of her.
Seems to be proceeding according to plan, sir.
It's the same thing, just a little walkway. I tried putting a picnic table out here, but it was too big. Put a little bit of basic protection around that just to protect the workshop. 0 mods installed, by the way. I thought about, you know, putting like the workshop relocation mod or the component breakdown mod, but I'm doing the whole thing pure to the game. No mods whatsoever yet. Anyways, so that's the greenhouse and 5th floor, if you will. And close that door up. And then the factory.
Flowers. What brighten this place up?
Turn the whole factory on and off with one switch. Pop the door open. And this is all you see. This is it. There's a row of switches here. A couple of master switches, if you will, numbered based on what they do, the different types of ammunition they make. The whole concept behind this is you should only have to dump in your whatever you collected into this hopper. It will then drop this into a sorting line, which is powered with sorter here. The sorting line will take out anything needed in the manufacturing of ammunition. Anything that it does not need will be dumped over here to junk. And then your completed ammo, if being manufactured, will end up coming out to here. Just to run around, and it counts, but you know, whatever. Taking a quick look from the outside, I did put in just a power door to get out. Originally this was just one great big box, but I decided to fancy it up a little bit and wrap around some on it, just to shrink down the overall size of it, I suppose. I am glad that Bethesda patched out a problem I've been having with the elevators, wherein the controls would show 2 or 3 levels above where the elevator actually was. That was a real pain in the ass. But anyways, drop down to the 2nd level here. This is the sorting level, and also apparently where 8 has been stuck. So the sorting level does exactly one thing. It sorts. All of your stuff will drop down to this conveyor belt. Goes into a primary sorter that looks for the 6 ingredients used in manufacture of ammo. If it contains that, it goes out the side. If it does not, it goes back out to the junk. As you circle around, each one of these things will dispense one particular item or another. Lead, what's this guy, plastic, I want to say this one is oil. I do this one first because you want to get steel last, actually, I believe. because there are some things that steel is contained with other items as well. Anywho, so all these things will sort out what you may need, and when you go to manufacture the ammo, these hoppers will open. If the hopper opens, these lights will kick on as well, just as kind of an indicator as to which one you can watch. There's also a return assembly that comes up the middle here. No risk of anything falling out of this, because the only things that can go down this line, each one of them are caught, so there's actually no risk of items falling through. But as the line finishes, items will come back up this way, go up to the top, where they can be broken up and to be either recycled back into the system if you want to purge it, or to empty into that final container. And 8 is in my way now. Fantastic. Alright. So, move down to the bottom level. Well, almost the bottom level. It's the bottom level you can access, at least. There is a sub-layer to this as well. I had to do the sub-layer in order to make room for this last sorter. Ladders in here, but you couldn't squat to get through them, so it became a matter of just, jump. It was close enough. I tried putting, as you can see, it was very close getting it in here, but yeah, whatever, jump over. So these hoppers drop down. There's actually 2 separate lines for the hoppers. They drop down onto the line, which will then bring them over to a combination hopper. And I had to do this because there's actually no way to properly combine production lines. And trying to get some sort of like curly Q or wraparound or something, the spacing on it was just simply not possible. Not in the space constraints I'd given myself. So this drops into the hopper, which then lifts back up, goes directly into manufacturing. And this was a really tricky thing to set up here. Inside of manufacturing, you'll produce whatever you want, slide it on out, and it goes back up to the top. However, when you're done, you're going to have stuff left over in here. Say you break apart a pencil to get the lead out of it, you won't have a wood left over, things like that. So I built a purge system in as well. You flip the purge light on, it turns this vacuum hopper on, which will then pull from the ammunition plant. And the only way to get this to actually drop into here without having to have a whole nother hopper assembly, which I didn't want to build, was just to build this really weird looking angle, and it kind of wraps around. Let's see if I can get up here.
We can keep traveling as much as you want.
Okay, I can't do
I
that.
don't require sleep or
But
food in
it'll-
order to survive.
Come on. There we go. Apparently I've forgotten how to jump. Wraps completely around, then drops back onto the line, which will then take it back up. And depending on your options back on that control board, this controls, where your items go. So, we'll go back up to the top floor, which is, again, the only space you ever really have to be in. Everything can be done from standing right here, actually. You don't need to move from, maybe right about here. So from here you can flip all the switches, you can run the terminal, hit the 2 cans. Now in this case I already have some stuff in here, just some random garbage. I pulled it out of the base inventory for this purpose. So first thing I'm going to do is just turn on the sorter. All that's going to do at this point is just open up the hopper, and if we run downstairs real quick, we can see it in operation. The hopper kicks on, the items start going through the sorting process. They will go, it dings every time that it has a match. Even though the belts are not moving, they are actually on. After you start to reach a certain size of your settlement, it has trouble rendering everything, so yeah, some of the belts will move, some of them won't. But as these items move around, for example, I want to say that deadbolts were caught for lead. Yeah, so the dumbbells move through there, and these fans are going to start popping out for steel. Apparently there's a lot of fans. That's probably going to run for a little while. Just let it do its thing. How many more fans do we have in here? Quite a few.
That's a museum quality piece.
So let something else go through. Copper, cooking oil. Cooking oil and some of these other round ones, they actually respond correctly. If you notice how they kind of slowed down there. These will occasionally get stuck, just like that one did, on the conveyor belts, because they roll. which is fine and dandy. Or after a while, something like a desk fan will come through and kind of help push everything along. But yeah, that'll run and run and run. And my whole idea behind this is it's something you can just dump all of your garbage into when you come back from a raiding party or what have you. Essentially, all of your junk, anything you don't want to keep, doesn't matter what it is, just throw it all in here. And if it's something that you need in ammo manufacturing, it will stay in this process. And if it's something you don't need, then it comes back out through here. Now, I don't have any extra junk on me. Let me go grab something real quick. That was wrong, but whatever. Let's grab some junk. Braxo, acid, we'll take... Actually, acid is needed, so that would work. Okay, there we go. Just take these bottles, whatever. Let's take a shortcut. So, and I'm going to short the line just to show it working. Bowling pins give me plastic, which is nice. So if I come over here and drop those bottles, I don't need glass in this process, so the bottles will actually come out the other side. And if I go back upstairs, I'll have my bottles showing up right here. So hooray, that process works. Now this is just the sorter. That's all this is running right now, so if I wanted to turn something else on, such as the factory, or the purge process, or even the recycling process, which is honestly just one little switch, and I'll show that in a minute, you have to turn them on. Now, before you turn the factory on, you want to make sure you know what you're making. So pop into your terminal, say I want to look at my ammunition plant. In my case, I use a lot of 2mm, so I want to make that. Tells you what you need, okie dokie, and I've now told it that's what I'm running. So now that it knows I'm making 2mm, I can turn my factory on. Oh, wait, I screwed that up, I have to turn on what type of ammo I'm making. So I'm going to turn the factory back off real quick. You may have noticed I have all this conduit and wire running everywhere. Yeah, there's a lot to it. It's actually kind of funny. This little power line right here, this is all the power running, everything beneath us. Because that recycle, all that does is turn on this little arm to push everything back into the hopper. These wires just run into counters. Anyways, let's take a look at the back side of this, because it's actually rather interesting. Move this guy out of the way, and this guy out of the way. So this disaster right here is what I had to put together in order to figure out how to move everything around. The conduits push through on this side, and then based on what they are, what ammo they produce, they're connected to the different materials: steel, fertilizer, copper, lead, plastic, oil. And I had to use these OR gates to prevent them from just simply turning everything on all at once. So they can act as, if I need a lot of things, actually I think all of them use fertilizer. So if you didn't have these OR gates in here, when you would turn one of them on, it would actually provide power to all of the rest of them. So this helps isolate each individual element. Based on just placement, this is where those switches are in the back. There's a couple of conduits that run 3 down each side. On that second level, that's where, I'll run back and show those, that's where the sorters individually are located. And then just basic power downstairs. Now there is one extra line that I ran across back to the front, and that was just for redundancy in the elevator power. Had some issues getting trapped, and yeah, I wanted to make sure that wouldn't happen. Let's put these walls back in place. Okay, so if I come back inside here and say I want to make 2mm, that tells those hoppers they're allowed to open, and I turn my factory on. If I come around over here, you'll see some of these lights have kicked on. That light kicked on. That one did not. The one at the end there did. Let's see, this one kicked on. So these are the elements that are necessary in making that ammo. Go ahead and go back downstairs so you can see from that level. Again, here's some of that conduit work. And that conduit runs down. This is where each one of those lives. I wanted to try and keep it clean. I didn't like having the hanging wires everywhere, so I did as much of this with conduit as possible. So there's, yeah, just the 3 running down each side to connect to the various hoppers. Help the cooking oil along its way. I probably shouldn't be sorting all these wrenches. I can sell them, whatever. Yeah, there go the wrenches. And so far I've only had bodies get stuck in the hoppers. They seem to do a pretty good job of actually sorting through. So anyways, go down to the first floor. The things I've told it I need, it's opened up. So in this case, the cooking oil, whichever one this one was, this one, this guy, I guess that would be plastic. Yeah, he wasn't needed, so he didn't open up. Jump back over here. I want to say there's, yeah, that guy. So yeah, the ones we need opened up. As they run, they will dump into this hopper, which in turn will doff its load down here. So light bulbs, copper, just a whole bunch of copper it's depositing right now. As that comes up to here, fills this guy up with everything it needs. As it can, it will manufacture my 2mm cartridges. Now, this one I think we're just simply waiting on. Oh, and that. Big items. That's why I had to put this whole hopper system in and make it a little bit longer than I originally would have. I had big items getting stuck in the process, and that was causing some issues. So, we let this run. I think it's probably waiting on the fertilizer, so I'll speed that process up. No, not the fertilizer. It's probably waiting on the oil, I imagine. But anyways, this will sit here and punch out the ammo. The ammo will then go upstairs. So, if I go all the way back upstairs again, you don't have to actually come down here to do anything. The whole thing is managed from right here. So I had 160, I'm now up to 200 I've manufactured for. There is a counter that turns on when you turn the factory on. As items cross that line, like this one, it registers another one. Pretty useful. So what I can do from here, say I'm done with the factory. I don't want to use the factory anymore. Turn that off. Oh, almost done with it. Let's pick up that last piece there. So now I want to purge the line. Purging is what turns on that vacuum hopper that, well, it's down there. But when you turn that on, that'll pull all the extra stuff out.
There's so much ground to cover in the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Where should we go next?
So if I come down and look at it now, I got another cartridge. So I've still got the fertilizer and barbells and all these things. What I had in here didn't really have any extra, but I could have some junk in here as well. Like I said earlier, if I'd thrown a pencil in, it would have some wood left over from collecting the lead out of that pencil. So turning purge on will suck all of this out, drop it back on the line, and then spit it out up top. Go up there real quick. Tell it to turn off the ammo that I'm manufacturing. And I'm going to turn on purge. And on top of that, I'm even going to turn on recycle in just a second. So what that's doing now, and it's on but you just can't see it. So if I stand on it, Did I do something wrong? Oh, no, I do have to have the factory turned on for that. I'm sorry, that's why they're in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, they all have to be on. So I'm going to go ahead and put that where it belongs, just because it was a last-minute addition. And as this whole system starts running, you should see scrap coming up here in just a minute. There we go, here comes some of the oil, I think that is, or acid. Go downstairs and take a look at what that looks like. Now, as these things fall in here, and this is why it has to be in order, the sorter is still running. So this hopper's open, it will drop things back down, and they will get sorted back out into the hoppers they belong in for future production. There comes some light bulb that wasn't broken down originally. All the way back down. Now, the purge process is something you probably don't have to do terribly frequently, but just, you know, whenever. Put this back on there. Apparently it's something I stole. Yeah, this kind of silly line is what I was describing earlier. Unfortunately, it was the only way I could figure out how to put this together without adding a whole separate layer of complexity to this thing, and I don't know if you saw earlier, I'm pretty darn close to my size limit for this, so I can't really do a whole heck of a lot more with it. But no, this will sit here and run and purge everything out of the ammunition factory. And my basic idea would not be to purge this, but every rarely, just to clear out whatever extra garbage has showed up, particularly considering the time it takes for everything to cycle around. And I had played a little bit with the workstation, telling it to increase the hoppers speed and things like that, but it didn't cause jamming, but I just didn't trust it. Oh, so we have some acid that came up here. I must have had the line running incorrectly. Or was acid not needed? Yeah, maybe acid wasn't needed. I don't remember, whatever. Anyways, it will sort itself out, and with all 4 switches running with nothing under production, it won't actually add anything to the input of the factory. It will just pull from the factory. So at this point, all 4 of these on and all 5 of these off. All it's doing is just sorting and cleaning itself. I can turn off the purge, and that will turn off the vacuum hopper. I think everything came out of there already. I can turn off recycle. That swings the arm back around so it's back in production mode. Turn the factory off because I'm not actually manufacturing anything. And this all the way up here is actually connected to that factory on the first floor, so it's a very long chain. This going downstairs, then going all the way down, going downstairs again. The sorter line is a separate line that is isolated from the other systems, so sorter can be run on its own. But to go from there, you really need to turn 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then come backwards if you want. But I'm not hearing any dings, so I think that means we're done. Yeah, so turn that off. As I come out here, close the door, turn the complete and total factory off, and there you have it. The thing that has cost me far, far too many hours in my life. I want to say the designs that I put out here, they took me a combined total of probably
If you ain't been up to see Great Garden, you should go.
16 to 18 actual hours. I started working on this factory in several different permutations. It was actually originally built on the other side of the building, but because of the direction the sorters work in, I had to switch over and bring everything to this side. I've built it, I've torn it apart, I've built it, I've torn it apart. I can't, at least 7 or 8 times. I mean, complete and total destruction and reworking. Tried to make it somewhat fathomable, I suppose, you know, having good foundation and such. But yeah, this This took far too much of my life, and definitely had to show it off some. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed your visit to my Spectacle Island and the gigantic time sink that it has been for me. Till next time, have a good one.